Why, good day, you devilish demons. It's Dave here, giving his insight to everything that's been going on with Bungie in the latest news. I'm not going to be covering the human side of it or anything like that. I'll link down below to a video by Fallout Plays. He's much more of a geezer than I am, and he covers the humanity side of this a lot better than I. I'm just going to be covering the business side of this. So let's get started. So essentially, there's one main concept that I sort of have to get across in business. So we're going to start off with that. It's called the funnel method. And the funnel method is generally used when you talk about businesses and the way that they operate. And you can apply this to a lot of businesses. So we start off with an easy example for you. We're going to look at cinemas. So for a cinema, the way that you get your customers in, your top line, that's your outside marquee, and the films themselves will do marketing, so the films will have appeal to you. A cinema is looking to sell film tickets. That's their main business. That's their most customers. And then you'll have a few percentage of those customers you'll sell sweets and treats to, so you make more money of those. And then the small customers you'll sell memberships to. These are your high-earning members, or whales, as they're sometimes called, on there. But every business generally operates around this way. So you're looking to get the most people you can get in, so you're making the lowest margin you can on those higher-end things. And then you're looking to upsell and upsell, and you have your different layers for that. So again, just so you get this through, is a mobile phone store example for you. So the phone company will advertise that they are the best company, and they'll make sure they get the right stock in that you want. They'll get you through the door, and then they'll look to sell you the contract or the phone, and then they make a little bit of money from the accessories. If they really make a lot of money from you, they sell you the insurance packages or extended warranties, as they're called, from companies who don't want to train their people how to sell insurance on there. But that's a different video for a different day. So to give you an example of this, when I was running a mobile phone store, if I sold you the highest possible iPhone on like an unlimited data contract, the most expensive contract, then essentially we would be looking at £40. That's what we would make for the store. If I sold you a £20 accessory, that would make me another £15. If I sold you insurance, that would make my store £100. So you can see there that essentially we're not making the money off the contract or the phone, because we need to be competitive there, because that's getting you through the door. That's part of our advertising and our stock. Where we're making our money is the insurance. So this is where Bungie kind of falls down on this. So if we look at Bungie, so the way that Destiny has generally been is they have marketing. You see the adverts on the web and all that, and the way they get people in is through their free play. What they're looking to sell the most people to is the game, because you need that before you really are going to do these other two things. And they're going to look to make more money of people who get season passes, and their whales or their high margin customers are those who are going to be buying skin purchases continually. But this is where Bungie have said, well, Sony, Bungie, whoever it is that's come up the minus 45%, that they've struggled with these season passes and with these skin purchases here. So this level here essentially is where they've been having issues, and I think this is a problem that they've generally have self-made for themselves on there, because the problem they've got is the game. So the free play it's there, you can use it if you want to, but there's been less and less content there. And the game is just way too overpriced to get people in. So because this is a funnel, you're continually losing existing people. You have to continually be bringing more in, because you're always going to be losing some from the bottom on there. The problem is that when you've got such a big entry to start your journey into becoming a whale or a high-end card customer, then you're going to cause problems selling them the additional things. You need to have a good way of flowing people through and make the most money that you can. So if we look at what it is that you have to do to get involved into Destiny, it looks a little bit like this. So Lightfall, £42. You can buy the Legacy Collection, which is another £50. And then you've got the 30th anniversary and the Forsaken pack, which is another £25. So to get just to get them to that first level, we're looking at £117. So a good story for this was about 6 months ago, I was at a tabletop event. I made some new friends, and one of those we were talking with for a few drinks afterwards, and we're like, oh yeah, next week we're both free, we should have a gaming session. So we talked about what we both played. I told him I was a Destiny 2 player, and he told me about the game he was playing, and we both went away. And when chatting afterwards, he said he looked into it, and he brought up this price point, and I couldn't really argue with that. But the game we ended up playing together was £60, so it cost me £60, but I couldn't really ask this person to pay £117 to get into a game on there. So they're essentially what is happening with Destiny, and I've been generous here because the Legacy Collection is a pretty recent thing. I think it only came out in February. Was the border to entry to just getting into that first level has been so high that you can't get into those bottom levels. So the fact that they're underachieving there is actually their own mistake. Their accounting department, their financial marketing department, those experts have unfortunately ruined this for a lot of people. I know that the response to this was that we saw the highest that we have seen of the player counts just after Witch Queen, because Witch Queen got a lot of praise when it came out. But the issue with that is that most of the people who I saw coming back weren't new. They were returning. There were people who had picked up the previous one the previous year, played it for a few months, and just hadn't played it. So all they were paying to get back into it was the one-off cost of the newest game. So they were able to get in, so that's why we saw another good peak. It's because all those returning members, the completely new members, are a lot lower than what the graphs would actually show you, I believe. And I would love to see how many Legacy Collections they've actually sold on there. So that's it, essentially. Bungie has failed in getting people into their lower levels by making the game part just too expensive to get past, to be able to throw in this extra money into it, essentially. There. So, is it all doom and gloom, or is there a way back? So the issue we've got here is that the game has been delayed. But you can't just leave the game to rot for that amount of time. Otherwise, you're essentially, when Final Shape comes, you're going to have to throw so much marketing money at this, because it's essentially going to be a new game, because it's going to be a dead game you're reviving. So what they need to do is they need to put in content up till then. But you don't want to be taking away value or production or your resources from the Final Shape, because with how bad Lightfall was, you need that big expansion to be spot on. So I think they've got some easy wins here, and it is in what I call easy content they've got that they can just modify. I say just modify, I'm not a game programmer, but you don't need to design from the ground up. You can just modify and give people extra stuff to play. And for me, that is the Leviathan sub-raids. But not raids. Bring these back as dungeons. 3 dungeons you've got there. There's no reason, I can't think of why the mechanics couldn't be changed into 3 people. Fire, I think, would be the hardest, because it is 4 platforms generally in each of the areas. You can deactivate 1 platform, make that a 3 platform thing, and that would work wonderful. And with the Sparrow Fits coming, you could easily do a Sparrow Racing season as well. So you've got 4 events there that you could throw in. But this is where Bungie needs to not make their previous mistakes. You need to understand that your loyal gamer base has been with you, and you cannot overcharge for this content. This content has to be included in the season passes, because if you're not including it in there and you're going to charge extra for this to try and get some extra money, then essentially you're back to square one problem, where it's no longer the price that it was, which was 117. You've now added another thing on top of that, so that's going to be even more. And also, I would reduce the total cost of this down to £70. Or £80, I would say. £40 for the newest one, £40 for everything that's been previously, £80, that's your entry to boredom. Entry to boredom. There's a Freudian slip about Destiny, isn't it? That's your entry to the game. and then from when you're in the game, we can sell you these extra things on there. Anyway, that's my 2 cents about it. See more details, look at Fallout plays below. But anyway, you enjoy the world, you devilish demons.